Hey everybody, welcome to the Beekeeping for Newbies YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about how I got started in beekeeping. So let's get to it. All right, everybody. Hey, so anybody who has a hobby, whatever it might be, there's usually some kind of a story around it. And my journey through beekeeping was no different. I went to work for a new employer. And day one on the job, the manager who was assigned to me, my new manager, he says, hey, just so you know, the guy who hired you left on Friday, so I'm your new manager. So that was really not the best introduction to the company. And I was a little bit freaked out. I'm like, oh, great. So this guy I've never met here is my boss, and the other guy's gone. Why did he leave? A lot of unanswered questions. But the guy who became my manager was a guy named Paul. Paul and I have been friends now for about 15 years. Super amazing guy. The guy saved my life a million times, and really, really happy it worked out the way it did. But after about a year and a half or two of Paul and I being friends, Paul says, hey, man, I'm getting some honeybees. And I was like, all right, man, well, best of luck with that. And he goes, no, you need to get some honeybees too. And I was like, you need to go. And then I probably said something else about what he should go and do. But I was like, I don't think it's going to be a good thing for me, man. Do your thing. Have a good time. Let me know how it goes. So, he's going through his bee journey, and probably like about 6 or 8 months go by. And he and I were talking again. I had moved on to a different position, and he and I were chatting it up, and he says, hey, there's this company that I'm going to move over to. I think it's a really good fit. I think you'd be good for it too, man. I think it'd be a great opportunity for you. Do you want me to put in a good word for you? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's go for it. So he talks to the manager over there, gets me a position over at that company. So I'm maybe, I don't know, like a month into the new job. I'm working with a new guy. His name's Greg, and another super amazing person I had the opportunity to work with during my my IT sales career. So Greg and I go to lunch one day, and we're sitting down at lunch, and Greg had 2 other guys there that he already knew. So it's basically, 3 guys who know each other and me. We're not like 10 minutes into the lunch, and these guys all start talking about their honeybees. And I was thinking to myself, like, what am I missing here? What's going on? And I realized that I was not a part of the cool club, and that wasn't going to fly because, everybody's doing it. That's the way those things work. When everybody else is doing it, you're supposed to jump on the bandwagon and do it too. So I didn't want to be left out. So I hit Paul up, and I'm like, hey man, did you know that all these guys over here are beekeepers? And he says, yeah, I think I heard about a couple of them. And I said, look, I'm going to have to figure this out, man. I feel like I'm missing out on something. So he says, look, I got this Beekeeping for Dummies book. Let me give you the book. Go read through it. See what you can figure out. If you have any questions, let me know. So I took the book. I went home. I started reading. I started watching videos. I started grabbing all the information that I could from any source that was available. And that was the beginning of my bee journey. That's kind of what kicked everything off and got me started. So in that first season, I had 2 colonies. I think the first one didn't make it through the summer. The second one did and overwintered, but then I don't know. I can't even remember. There were just so many issues year after year. But I wanted to just take a minute, give you guys kind of the introduction as to how I got into beekeeping. And then I'm going to follow this up with a few other videos around specific topics and things that are in areas where I made mistakes early on. One of the biggest examples of this is I just used that book, and then from there, I didn't rely on anybody else for anything. I just figured, well, I'll figure it out on my own. And one problem with that is there are a lot of things that can either be fixed with education and learning or with money. At the time, I had a lot of money, so I threw a lot of money at the problem, and that was a really bad idea. So don't be like me, right? Save yourself a lot of money. But I didn't get a mentor. I wasn't working with anybody else. I limited myself to just what I found basically in the book and in some videos and things like that. But don't be like me, right? Use a mentor, get in touch with somebody else who knows a little bit about bees, who can help you out and give you some guidance. And as always, you can reach out to me, Jeff at beekeepingfornewbies.com. That's NEWBEES.com. Let me know what's going on with you. You're having some trouble. You're having trouble finding a mentor. You're having trouble figuring out a problem. Hit me up and let me know. But outside of that, folks, stay tuned. We got a lot of content that I'm starting to roll out. I had basically nothing like the microphone and the camera. I had no infrastructure here to get all the stuff out to you guys that I wanted to. So I'm basically shifting a lot of my energy from the podcast and I'm bringing it over here to YouTube, and I'm kind of merging them together. So everything that goes on YouTube is going to be on the podcast and vice versa. The one exception to that is I'm still going to keep the In the News segments. I think it's every Wednesday. I drop a 5-article in the news segment in the podcast, just talking about bees, what's going on in the bee world and all of that. So that's not going to be on video. That'll just be left on the podcast. Anyway, that's all I got for you today, folks. Take care, be kind to one another, and remember, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. We'll talk to you soon.